Hey guys, it's your host with the least, Laxon85, here to bring you this Team Phoenix Rising versus Purple Cobras game. And at the E-Desk, I have with me Quasars. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you?
It's been an interesting day, but I'm just excited to get into this game. Now, earlier, some of you may have seen in the Discord server, and if you haven't seen yet, there's a link at the bottom, that we had our mascot Haru predict who's gonna win, and that did go over to Purple Cobras. Now, unbiased, do you have any opinion on who you think will win this? Trying to target and win early here. And we do see that Aurelia ban on the side of Purple Cobras trying to take out that mid, and we do see Renekton a staple ban into Cinco Gazer, as you really can't leave that open into him. With that Echo ban coming through as well, they may just trying to take Kaze out of the game and just make sure that Frisian can win. Although then again, there is that Ahri. So we may see a third mid ban,
You too will be judged.
and actually a support ban. Really throwing one down there. I'm kind of surprised they didn't take away Alex Skander's Ornn, as I don't believe Cinco Gazer plays it much. And with a few seconds ticking down, we'll see that last ban on Team Phoenix Rising. We can get into these picks and start seeing the shapes of these teams. So we see Cinco Gazer's Poppy, a pretty decent performance in these last few games, actually playing it in the last series he won. Although there is, I believe, Friction's Jax picked immediately. Now, as your team, Quasars, we've seen Friction a few times on Jax, but it's usually a ban. Is this a worthy first pick for Purple Cobras?
I feel like Friction does really well in the jungle on his Jax. So I feel like even with the Renekton ban and the Ahri ban and the Poppy ban towards Purple Cobras, that Friction will still be able to perform very well on his Jax and help out the lanes regardless of how comfortable they feel on whatever champions they decide to pick up in the draft.
And hopefully he'll be able to put some of that pressure down, because we do see Alex Skander's Ornn, possibly his best top laner, come out, along with Darqueeze's Braum, which we've seen him play a few times. And I can't say he's carried games before, but he has certainly helped out in that bot lane to get them ahead on that champion before. And Cinco just going for another tank to counter that Ornn. We've seen Sion versus Ornn in a lot of these GXPC matches, and it really goes either way. And with that lock in, it may just be a battle of who can really take out who first, who can get that little extra poke damage out, and if we can see that dominant jungler come out on either side. Do you think that top lane is going to lean one way or the other based on that Sion pick?
Um, Honestly, I'm not sure yet. um, I do think that Orin has a little bit more potential to win lane against Scion, but with Scion's passive, any early like fights where Orin gets really low and kills Scion first, then Scion can always come back, use his passive, and kill Orin as well. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of early trades, and then depending on help from the junglers, like whoever gets a little bit more ahead on CS, and then ganks from jungle would be probably going to be more dominant late game.
Definitely, and we may see some of that action come out, but just to get back to these picks real quick, we saw Tristana come out on the side of Purple Cobras. Kind of an interesting ADC pick, as there were some more of those priority ADCs that we've seen. Those Zai is still up, that Kai's is still up, and it's interesting to see none of that's taken. And on the side of Team Phoenix Rising, we saw the KTA mid special with that Zed being picked in the mid lane. We'll see if Kaze can really put pressure down on Frisian, as they did ban away his Lissandra, and the Ahri was banned away before as well. And as we get to 1 second seeing this last ban, it will be a Syndra. So really targeting down Frisian, gonna really try to make his life hard, maybe make him a little uncomfortable. And he doesn't have a decent way to get rid of the Zed. Now we do see the Amumu ban and the Lucian ban as well on the side of Purple Cobras. The Amumu has been something Canadian Champ has played fairly well, kind of come from behind pick. People thought it was a meme at first, but really able to take out teams. And that Lucian ban as well, a pretty good champion for Nutrinks. And we're gonna see this one pick right here. Ashe again. An interesting bot lane, I have to say, is a decent engage. We've seen it a few games, but none of these priority ADCs, these big damage dealers that you'd expect, were picked. How do you think that's going to impact that bot lane?
Well, seeing that the AP Malphite just got picked up, I feel like it's going to be really difficult for both the Ashe and the Zed going into mid to late game, just because like Malphite has that potential to like blow up all those squishy champions, and so I don't feel like Braum or Orin can really do much to protect either of them.
Yeah, it's going to make a bit of a tough time, especially with that Leona lock-in. Purple Cobra's having a lot of engage, that Jax jump, that Scion ult to really try to run past, Tristana jump, Malphite ult, Leona E. Just a lot of mobility, and taking Scion out of the equation, 4 champions with just a jump to get to that back line. So it is going to make this last pick for Team Phoenix Rising a very important one. And Shyvana jungle, an interesting choice, but with that knockaway ult, maybe we'll see some plays. And I'm going to bring it over to my color caster, maybe unpack this pick ban for us, really, if any lane you think is going to win, or if there's just one spot on the map where you think we're going to see a lot of action.
I do like the Malphite pick into Zed. That is an AP Malphite, confirmed. I've seen Frisian practice it a lot recently. So I feel like it's going to be like pretty tough for Zed to lane up against that AP Malphite. And then in the bot lane, I think that will just depend on, if Leona is able to get Tristana the early kills that she needs to scale properly into the mid game. But Braum is like really good at protecting Ashe. I do like Ashe and Braum together. I do think that's a really fun lane to play. So I'm not sure if Leona can actually get the picks off on the Ashe that she might need. And then they'd also have to watch out for the Zed roams, because I don't think he's going to be doing very much mid lane.
Definitely some interesting calls. Now, where do you think this first blood's going to take place? Because if I had to guess, a lot of these lanes are going to live a very long time, with Zed not being able to assassinate Malphite, kind of that pool noodle fight top lane, nobody really getting off the damage they need. So I think once we hit 6, that Braum stun, that Ashe ult, and that Braum ult will just be too much CC for Tomato Farmer or Desolate Earth to handle. So I'm going to give it to bot lane. But where do you think we're going to see that first blood?
I feel like I feel like I'd have to agree with you. I feel like it's gonna go to the Ashe and Braum in the bot lane within like probably the first 7 minutes, unless Scion can make things happen up in the top lane versus that Orin, or vice versa.
And hopefully we will see a bit of an action to get us excited in this game. And another interesting thing to note about these teams is with the Shyvana pick, these dragons, these drakes are going to be a lot more important for Team Phoenix Rising to get that resistance built up on Shyvana's passive. However, we've seen Purple Cobras have a lot of objective control in some of these matches, pretty good map rotation, and really just an ability to take down these objectives cleanly and at the right times. So who do you think is going to get the advantage at these objectives and take more of these drakes this match?
I actually feel like both teams have really good vision and objective control when they do play. So I think it's just whichever team is able to remove more vision than the other one. And I feel like Purple Cobras kind of lacks in that general department. So I think that Shyvana should pick up a few drakes here and there, but just because of Cinco's ability to pressure the top lane, we might see Purple Cobras pick up a few as well. So I think the dragon distribution would be pretty even between both of the teams. But I do feel like it's just solely about like vision, and then as like Cinco split pushing is like a side factor, because we do know that that's what he does. But if he happens to get behind that Orin, then Shyvana would more than likely take all of the dragons.
And talking about getting behind and trying to split push, an interesting thing to notice some of these team fights is while you do want that Ornalt to come out, with Sion having a knock up, Jax having that jump stun, Malphite having the knock up, Tristana with the ult, and Leona with having 2 stuns. Really, every member has a way to stop that orange, so team fights will become pretty interesting as who can get that clean engage off first or really get that burst off first, as each team has that burst champion. However, we are going to cut to a commercial break and we'll be back at the beginning of the game.
This is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate Games XP in Decorah, Iowa. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The Game XP motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out Games XP and experience this geek gaming paradise.
Yep, I'm gone. Oh, I apologize, guys. We are back, and GXPC Stream Standard, we're back with a pause. So we do have time to really get into what I was talking before about these burst champions, and I'll break it down a little more for you guys. With a full AP Malphite and that Jax AoE stun, any squishy, which would be Zed if he can't dodge it, Ashe, and depending on the build she goes, Shyvana as well, is at risk of getting popped. But at the same time, Zed being able to take out Tristana almost at will, if he can get that ult off, is also going to be a problem. So, Quasars, who do you think really has the burst advantage here, and who do you think can really take down one of these targets quicker in this match?
That's actually really tough. I feel like both teams do have burst for sure. Like we do have the AP Malphite who can go in and 1-0 the AD carry and the mid laner for Phoenix Rising. We have the Tristana, who late game does a lot of damage. And then we have the Leona who can dash in and stun CC Locket just so like maybe Friction can jump in and kill someone as well. So that's all the bursts we really have from Purple Cobras. But for Phoenix Rising, we have the Zed who can go in and one shot the Tristana. I think that's like really the only one he could truly one shot when it comes to like mid to late game. And then we have the Ashe who also does burst damage as well, and like you said, the Shyvana. So I honestly think it's pretty even as far as burst damage goes.
I do have to agree, and if one of these teams snowballs, that may just push the team over the edge. And just to go over these keystones with you as well, nothing too out of the ordinary, although we do see Ashe going for that lethal tempo while Trist opted for the fleet. So Tristana will have a bit more sustain in the bot lane, because even though Braum has that Guardian, it won't really recover the health that Ashe loses. It's really only a stopgap for a little bit of poke. So it's possible that while that bot lane of Purple Cobras doesn't have a lot of poke damage, if Tristana can get off a few good autos with that E passive on minions to Ashe, or get off a good bomb or two, that she just can't recover well enough. And we do see possibly an apology for the pause, as Purple Cobras is deciding to pay it forward with some kind of gank in the bot, although they may just be trying to absorb the possible Braum gank. But we do see that standard 5-point from Team Phoenix Rising, not really wanting to risk anything with that possible Jack stun into the Leona stun, into the Malphite slow and the Scion knockup. It's honestly surprising that Purple Cobras didn't go for the invade with all that possible CC, but possibly trying to play it safe and absorb them would have been the right call. And just a normal 5-point spread now. Although Team Phoenix Rising didn't grab any wards in that deep blue side, that blue buff, they could have, but just a safer play, not knowing where any of these members are, and just deciding to take the game slow, and what'll happen will happen, just a C'est la vie mindset. So as we get into just a normal little slap fight early, nice little hello from Malphite, any lane you're excited to see pop off possibly, or just a lane you think we'll be focusing on a lot?
I do want to see how Cinco and Alexander do top lane. I feel like that is not at all one-sided, and it's gonna be pretty even all game. So I really want to see like who's able to actually get ahead.
And a decent stun here with that I'm sorry, I forget the name, Braum's passive as I tried to remember it. But Braum's passive 4-stack going off, getting Leona to half health back there. And a decent bit of poke, as Ashe can get that slow. We'll see a lot more of that in the bot lane. Jax is trying to be sneaky and go for that steal, but the ward did spot him out. So Shiv does see she has free reign to come top. We'll see if she actually decides to, or just take this scuttle and go. But instead we'll see some vertical jungling. Each jungler deciding to go for the enemy camp. And just really a bit of a slow start, except for that bot lane and top lane. A nice knockup from Scion back there. And just a lot of damage on Alexander. Really possibly looking uncomfortable, as this is a lot worse than we've seen him in the past. A nice knockback there, really stopping the damage. Tristana jumps in. Stun almost comes off as she has to flash away. Ashe gets the stun off, big damage onto her as Tristana has to heal. Exhaust goes down from Braum and she gets very low, but stun on the backline from Leona. First blood to Ashe as the fight's still going. Leona has to flash out to avoid the stun. So we were right about that bot lane first blood, but a lot earlier than you'd expect, as Alexander does get poked again. So
Yeah.
hopefully it calms down a bit, but what do you think will happen now that that Team Phoenix Rising bot lane knows they can bully that hard?
Well, unfortunately for the Purple Cobra bot lane, Leona isn't very good at protecting her AD carry. So, whether or not Nutrinix is able to get fed solely depends on whether Tomato Farmer decides to play his Tristana aggressively or defensively. And really, we want to see, after giving first blood over to Nutrinix, we want to see Tomato Farmer use his jump to escape rather than to engage, unless he really knows that he can win those fights. Like if he has a jungler or a mid laner roam down for him, and it's an obvious 3v2.
And we do see that jump in as Leona gets the stun off. Jax coming through. Tristana jumps in for a bit of that damage. Stun down onto Ashe from Jax as that Leona Ignite W will take him down. And just a very good gank, just as you were talking about. That jump in with that jungler does prove to be plenty damage to just burn through that bot side. So hopefully we'll get a bit more action, a bit more of these ganks, and really just see one of these ADCs snowball, as Leona did pick up the kill, but that is 1 kill to each side bot lane. Now, jungle on the side of Team Phoenix Rising, Shyvana just seems to be farming, and she doesn't have much of an impact early, but it's a little rough to see her not trying to apply pressure in these lanes, as Cinco is pretty safe, poking down at Alexander there and just feeling comfortable. You know, we see Frisian and Kaze just kind of trading damage back and forth. Farm is about even there, though, so no really laner feeling any pressure, and bot lane again with 1 kill each. How do you think Canadian needs to make his presence felt, and how early possibly before he lets this game get out of hand?
I think that Canadian's just gonna try to farm up until level 6 and then gank, and that's not always a bad thing. But you just need to, you know, even if you just intend on farming up until level 6, you do need to, you know, kind of show yourself in lanes just to say, hey, I'm here, and get some enemy champions to back off.
And sorry to cut it short, we do see that flash in from Cinco after the knockup, and Alexander had to burn flash before it. We see friction on Canadian champ as well, messes up the flash, and Jax just takes him out easy. And the problem before was that Alexander having to burn flash on just some basic Cinco Gazer poke, as we saw in that top lane before, didn't have that escape tool he needed, didn't have that jump away he needed either. So just really a sitting target for Cinco to decide to flash whenever he needs to. And this bot lane of Team Phoenix Rising trying to take back some of that pressure in response, but it will be tough, as if Friction decides to go bot again, this could just be another kill on the Ashe. And Canadian champ roaming down, just grabbing Scuttle for now, but hopefully trying to set up a kill, as we do need to see some of those dragons go down eventually for that passive. What lane do you think Canadian champ needs to get ahead to really just snowball this game the most efficiently?
I feel like the best lanes to get ahead would be top and bot lane. You know, just because I don't think Zed's gonna do very much this game, and I'm just saying that because overall Purple Cobras is pretty tanky. And you know, like the only one he could really win to 0 is Tomato Farmer, but you know, if Leona is able to peel effectively for Tomato Farmer, then that Zed's just not going to do anything.
Sorry to cut you off, but we do have a gank bot. Zed decides to ult Tristana. The damage will not be enough with that heal. Braum has to take a few tower shots, gets to half, and just a very unsuccessful gank. Malphite comes in, 4-man ultimate, gets huge damage off. Leona gets that stun off. 2 people go down. Tristana jumps in, gets the reset, and Shyvana is just far enough away to get out. But a 3-for-0 off a failed gank. Purple Cobra's really asserting dominance through this bot lane, and a very smart follow by Frisian. And I'm sure you must be proud of your team, but do you wish that some of these kills were going to this Trist, as even after all of those deaths, she still remains 0-1-3?
I mean, I feel like
as Tristana gets the damage off. And sorry to cut you off, but Desolate Earth really just getting a little bit greedy there.
No, it's alright. I do feel like even if Desolate Earth does get a couple kills, then it won't harm Tomato Farmer too much, because a Fed support eventually leads to a Fed AD carry as long as you don't last hit. So I feel like eventually he'll be able to pick up a couple kills like we just saw and get caught up.
Alexander missing the pillar, jumping in. Single Gazer deciding to ult in, gets decent damage off. The Q lands, and Alexander goes down again. Cinco popping off on that Scion as well, now without any help, is really just able to get these kills top lane and doesn't need attention. And Canadian champ may be feeling pressed here, as every lane seems to be dying, and after that failed 4-man gank bot, doesn't really have a lane avenue back in, as we do see a 3k gold lead developing, and the first turret was taken down bot a while ago. TP in from Cinco Gazer though. He may try to just slow them down for Frisian to get here. Does get stunned out by that Braum passive, will keep running. And Ashe doing decent damage, but the knockup from Cinco. Frisian running in, possibly trying to set up that ult. Leona ult misses as the flash from Nutrix comes in, but the stun from Leona, decent knockup damage. Ashe goes down quickly. And just a very coordinated 5-man from Purple Cobras as they may turn their attention to this Earth Drake here. A very good pickup first. What do you think Team Phoenix Rising has to do to try to take command of this game again?
I feel like they just need to ward up and watch the rooms because we did see the Cinco teleport in, and we did see Frisian come down twice for gank in bot lane. So I think if they just, start getting some vision control in the river.
A little bit of a
They'll
fight
be
here.
alright.
Shyvana jumps in, gets stunned up, and just unable to fight back as the CC from Purple Cobras is just too much to handle. As Malphite spots out Zed, very high damage on AP, ults in, double knockup. Leona jumps in as well. Zed ults Leona, trying to get that damage off. Frisian will go down. Desolate Earth very low. Stays alive though. Ignite on him. Flashes out, will stay alive as we do see Friction trying the 2v1. Has to ward jump and flash out. And a 1-for-1 there. Possibly what Team Phoenix Rising needed, as that was shutdown gold, but they will have to be careful as we see damage going down this mid turret and just not really picking too much up for, map wise for not taking that out. Alexander not even pushing in that top lane too much. What do you think this Ornn has to do to try to make his impact felt a little more?
I feel like Ornn just needs to, farm and try to roam like Cinco's doing and get a couple of the sister kills in other lanes. As we've noticed, like Cinco, he hasn't been top lane in a while. He's been having a presence in mid and bot lane instead, and even in the enemy jungle a little bit. So I think that he just needs to pick up a few sister kills.
And hopefully he will be able to make his presence known, pick up a few of those, especially with TP up below. Tomato Farmer just slightly bullying him. We do see Cinco in this mid lane with ult up, and Purple Cobra's not shy of turret diving, may try to set something up, although instead we do see Jax and Malphite walk away and just try to disperse. Decent damage out both from Alexander and Tomato Farmer, but really not much going on up there. As we see Purple Cobra's possibly being in danger here, has to jump out, and Leona being a little cheeky near that rift. And even with all these advantages, decent damage, it gets great ult, great WQ, and Ignite will take out Kaze there. And Tomato Farmer has to ult away Ornn. However, Ornn gets the knockup on Tristan, a decent damage, but not enough. Scion ults in, knocks him up, double stun, triple stun, and 4 stuns on Alexander. And they're just letting him know he won't be playing the game today. And just with wild CC chains, team fights are going to be tough. What do you think the best strategy is that Team Phoenix Rising could employ to really just make the map go in their favor?
I mean, they're definitely in a tough position right now. I do like that they're trying to get some vision control around that Rift Herald, but it's just like I think their best bet is
Farmer goes down with that bomb.
Yeah,
Sorry, that was just a good moment there.
No, it's okay. I feel like they just need to ward and just not get picked off and try to get a couple items to fight back. Like the CS differences actually aren't huge, other than in bot lane. Like Ashe is up on CS by about 20 on Tomato Farmer. So he can very well keep farming well and get a couple items and then maybe be able to 1v1 Tomato Farmer later. But as of right now, they just don't need to engage in any fights, and that can be really, really difficult. But as long as you have the vision control and you see that they're coming for you, you can leave in a decent amount of time.
Yeah, we have seen this dive power from Purple Cobras be a problem, so that vision control will help. We do see some of these wards, although some of them are dying out now, focused on that top side as they may be scared of that Rift Herald. Do you think that if Phoenix Rising can kind of get a kill or two and steal away this Rift Herald, it could start to turn the map back in their favor with some of that turret gold.
Yeah, I do feel that you know, if Phoenix Rising is able to get some shutdown gold, then that would be really good for them.
Ornn caught out here, gets stunned, knocks him up. Leona stunning again, and Sion knocking him up. Not much damage though, as they don't have any of those primary carries though. Both teams will walk away, although Tristana takes mid turret as a prize for that double roam up from Team Phoenix Rising. And just a few normal clears, normal CSing, and almost a dead Braum, as that E could have meant certain death. Ash Arrow comes through, Braum ult, and Shyvana ult, he goes down immediately. Malphite not long for the world. Ornn ult coming through, gets the knockup on 3 members, the stun almost on Cinco Gazer, gets stunned out, is getting a lot of damage. Zed on the back line, Cinco goes down, and Darkreezy on that back line as well, trying to get some stuns out, almost goes down. Sion trying to tear up a few people in zombie form. Desolate goes all the way in, gets stunned up by that Braum passive, goes down to Shyvana. Jax jumps in trying to get that 3-man stun, gets a few people low, gets low himself, and Zed takes him down. A turret shot will take him down. However, Alexander trying to take out Tomato Farmer, takes a few turret shots. Tomato Farmer almost goes down to that winner's bite, and it will be a 4-for-1 on the side of Team Phoenix Rising. So a beautiful fight by them, really showing they're still in it and really reducing that gold lead, as they will take possibly an Infernal Drake as well. Cinco jumping into the pit though, and just kind of stuck there. Team Phoenix Rising not sure what to do yet, as they are forced off, as Frisian shows up as well. Does have that ult and flash if he so decides. Cinco almost getting knocked up as Braum blast cones over. The members backing in the bush. That Hex Tech gets him. Frisian trying to get some damage off. Alexander knocks him up. Stun misses. However, blue buff gets knocked away. Frisian jumping in on that Shyvana. It goes down though, however. Darkreezy going down as well to that Sion Leona damage. And members will back off, as that extended fight just leaves a 1-for-2 in the favor of Purple Cobras. However, they will get this Scuttle and this Infernal Drake as a prize. Do you want to unpack that multi-minute fight for us?
Yeah, it started off really good for Phoenix Rising. They did win that fight. They got 4 members of Purple Cobra. And you know, they were doing really well. They were rotating the dragon, but Purple Cobras happened to have the vision control to know that they were going to dragon, and they know that giving Shyvana dragons is not a good thing to do. So they were able to rotate up in a timely manner, take that dragon, and even take 2 players for 1. So it started off really good, but it kind of tilted in the favor of Purple Cobras, seeing as they, you know, picked up their 2nd Drake for this game.
Yeah, a little bit of a greedy play, trying to get that Drake from the play as well. If they backed out, they could have just kept that lowered gold lead as a prize, as they will turn their attention to Rift Herald, just trying to steal away every objective they can. And Team Phoenix Rising spots it out a bit, will try to respond with all members there, but may not be able to do it in time, as the Ash W checks the current timer on it, sees that low health. Canadian Champ jumps in. I'm not sure who got the stun there. Knockup goes up. Stun goes down on Shyvana. Ornn ult getting damage in the back as Friction goes down into the other team's back as well. Cinco Gazer getting decent damage off as Desolate Earth goes down. Cinco getting that slow off. Friction jumping and stunning. Gets Darkreezy down. Ornn knocked away as Kaze goes in for Friction. Gets knocked up and stunned. He goes down as well to that Tristana Jax damage as Alexander runs away. And just a little bit of a chase here. Cinco trying to assert some dominance possibly, but I believe Alexander will just get out scot-free here, as we see Tomato and Friction push down mid.
Yeah, and in that hectic mess of a team fight, Shyvana was able to dash and smite the Rift Herald and pick it up before dying. So the Rift Herald did go over to Phoenix Rising. But I feel like they don't really benefit too much from it, seeing as how many people they lost in that team fight. And especially like already being behind, like you don't really want to be losing people in team fights.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough trade there, as they tried to make a very Twitch clip worthy play, I'd say, but really just ended up backfiring in the long run as they lost too many of those members there, as you said. And that gold lead extending again, hitting a 6K difference. Do you think one more team fight may reel it back again, or is it too long gone as Tomato Farmer goes down immediately to Kaze, who was just waiting in the bush there, waiting for him to open up that shop and just let him come back to a gray screen? But from before, what do you think, other than cheeky assassination plays, do they need to do to really lower this gold lead again?
I mean, I feel like they need to try to push some waves and get a couple of objectives. That would definitely help. I do feel like Orin might be a little bit more useful if he's off to the side split pushing. He does have teleport, so he could easily move as long as he has the vision control and sees that someone's coming for him. He can get out with that teleport relatively quickly.
As I'm sorry, but Alexander runs away. Desolate Earth is really trying to make plays with his Leona ults, but we've seen the past few become hit or miss because of Team Phoenix Rising's mobility. However, they will set up a gank on the Canadian champ. He smells it and runs away, but Leona gets that stun. Frisian gets the stun as well. However, Shyvana able to ult away. Sion coming through, gets the knockup, gets the second knockup, and goes down easily. Now, they could try to rotate this to a Baron. However, a lot of that damage from Team Phoenix Rising is still up. What do you think the proper call is here?
I feel like taking out the Shyvana definitely gives him an opportunity to get Baron. They do have Smite opposed to Phoenix Rising right now. But if this team fight goes in the favor of Phoenix Rising, then, Purple Cobras really shouldn't be taking a lost Baron right now.
And we do see the Ornn ult come in, gets two members knocked up. Kaze jumps in, but the smite goes down, and Purple Cobras picks up Baron. Sion knocking up Alexander, tries to run a Braum, return ult, knocks up and slows people. However, Desolate Earth jumping in, Alexander jumping in Tomato Farmer, but goes down. Hectic damage on that backline as Braum goes down as well, and Ashe is forced to run away to save her life. And the reset coming through from Purple Cobras, as they will try with a few members to possibly push that top, or just Cinco Gazer will actually, as the rest of the members do choose to reset and spend that money in their pockets. Do you want to walk us through that fight a bit and possibly the items it led to?
As far as itemization goes, we do see that Frisian did prioritize the death cap, which gives him a lot of AP. So that's really good to have on an AP Malphite. He already went ahead and got his Hextech GLP as well. So I feel like he's a little bit ahead of his teammates. But I think it's just solely because of kill participation. That and, other teammates, they do have more expensive items. Cinco, on the other hand, is 6-1, 121 CS.
Kaze goes in on Tomato Farmer, gets single stun actually as he dodges it with ult, however goes down immediately. Tomato Farmer will not get taken out by that ult. As we see Baron Ming is pushing into this base, Team Phoenix Rising trying to find a way in as the Sion ult gets stopped. The knockup gets stopped as well. Darkhui's getting low, however, Sion gets stunned to that passive. Friction gets low as well, and Nutrink's getting extremely low on that Ashe. Jax is forced to go down as Canadian Champ takes him out. And Canadian Champ running away from Tomato Farmer on that Tristana. Alexander forced to run away too. Does get stunned though, tries to get that shield and that move around, but does go down. Malphite going in the back line as Frisian just decides that Canadian Champ is not long for this world either. The inhibitor goes down, and with Kaze being able to respond, however, Purple Cobras is going to be forced to back off. Now, what do you think went right in that fight for Purple Cobras that they're able to start trading so effectively as opposed to the last few fights where it's gone even?
Well, Purple Cobras is ahead by 7 kills. Actually, no. Yeah, can I math? Yeah, 7 kills.
17, I believe. But
17.
Does have that 7. Does have the 7, so I'll give it to you.
I can't math. I'm sorry. I'm trash at math. John does all the math. He's Asian. But they are ahead by 17 kills. They're up in items. They're up in kills. they're up in CS. I said kills already, but it's okay. So they're able to easily like, you know, do a lot of damage to Phoenix Rising just because they're so far ahead, and just because like Phoenix Rising wasn't able to get you know, the items that they needed at the times they needed. They don't have any way to kind of, you know, put out any damage towards Purple Cobra's carries, except for the Zed. The Zed's able to 1-0 the Tristana, but he can't really get to her because they do have this Cinco Gazer, they do have Friction, they have Frisian, they have Leona, and the peel on the side of Purple Cobras is really good.
Single Gazer's like ulted on the Ashe for a return. Nutrient's trying to get him low as Darkreese will get that passive stacking, and he does get stunned up. Massive damage on the Single Gazer as Canadian is forced to ult in. Missed ult on Leona as Braum ult will return to knock up Cinco again. He will go down. Frisian ulting Zed though goes down almost immediately. Warren ult knocks up only 2 members as Friction goes down now. Frisian trying to find some damage goes down as well. Desolate Earth trying to E in, get some damage. Tomato Farmer has to go to that backline, gets 2 kills. Tries to get that reset again. Desolate Earth getting the stun off. Bomb off from Tomato Farmer, getting the damage off. Pentakill, as we saw a Twitch clip worthy play that will result in the end of this game 1 as long as they have the turret damage. So we will see Kaze respond soon though, and he can take out Tomato Farmers we've seen before. If he is willing. A little slow off the draw there. Does take out him almost immediately. TP in though, as Desolate Earth is just tanking damage. Cinco Gazer trying to kill Kaze instead of focus down that Nexus. Desolate Earth going low as well. And they do take it out in a bit of a sweater at the end as they were trying to kill people. Getting me a little heated instead of trying to just end the game, but it does go in the favor of Purple Cobras. And with a beautiful game 1, we will see you in a bit for the start of game 2. Hey guys, we're back after an exciting game one that went over to the side of Purple Cobras, and we're going to attempt to unpack that match for you a bit as we saw a lot of good plays, a lot of good aggression, and even a pentakill at the end of the match going over to Tomato Farmer's Tristana. So, what do you think went right in that game for Purple Cobras, and what do you think went so wrong for Phoenix?
Yeah, I feel like Purple Cobras, they were just able to get ahead and stay ahead. And Phoenix Rising didn't have the best vision control to compensate for the roams coming from Purple Cobras, especially from the AP Malphite in the mid lane, and the Cinco with the teleport coming in to bot lane and helping out Tomato Farmer and Leona.
Yeah,
So I feel like they just need to ward out this game, not get picked off, and they'll be all right.
definitely would help them as we saw a bunch of multi-man roams coming through. And even Team Phoenix Rising trying to get a 4-man turret dive bot lane actually ending up in, I believe it was 3 kills going against them as they lost all but 1 member off of that. A decent counter roam by Frisian on that AP Malphite. What do you think Team Phoenix Rising is going to be forced to ban this game as we saw power picks we've never really seen before shine on this Purple Cobras team?
Right. So with Purple Cobras, we have Frisian, who's a very strong mid laner, and you can't really ban him out. It's very hard to. We've seen him before strive on his Ahri. He can play Lux, he can play Vigar, he can play Xerath. We just saw him on the AP Malphite. He can play Syndra. We've seen him play Lysandra. So he has, I would say, a pretty big champion pool. And so I feel like with Phoenix Rising, they shouldn't be focusing bans towards Frisian, and they should ban out some other champions that are like really tough to play against, like the Scion, for example. Like we saw him, able to, do Scion things, pop off stun some people, get ahead early, and then like go and help out other lanes as well. His ult can be devastating. His passive is annoying. So I feel like we would see more bans focused towards top lane this game.
Now, as we do see some of those bans, we see the 2 courtesy bans as Frisian's Ahri and Cinco Gazer's Renekton will pretty much always be a problem. So even when we talk about a dream scenario of bans, they really can only flex one. And actually, depending on what this last ban is from the side of Purple Cobras, which we will see in a minute, this could be the exact same bans that we saw in match 1, and it will be. So, the exact same setup, except teams are switching sides. So, Team Phoenix Rising stealing away that Tristana. And 1 minute here, folks, as I would like to turn your attention to the betting as well. We see 77% of viewers voting for Purple Cobras, as Team Phoenix Rising only has 23%. I would like to suggest anyone who wants to win some points, and there is a shop now, you can win some skins as well. I suggest you do bet. It is !bet team and then amount. So try to get those votes in, try to get those bets in, and really guess who you think is going to win this match, as there still are a few minutes left to get them in. And as I was talking about these bets, we see Scion, and Lord help us, we've seen this once before. Will we see Teemo again? No. As sparing not only his team and the enemy team, but the viewers and the casters as well. As we all know, the one true Super Scyther is the only man strong enough to wield that pick, and that Jax picked up instead by Friction. So what do you think of these picks so far, as we see some comfortable picks coming through for Purple Cobras, but some interesting ones on the side of Team Phoenix Rising?
Right now, I did just see Canadian champ hover the Shaco. If you've ever paid attention to any of my casts before, I've noted that Frisian hates champions that go invisible. He's really bad about playing against him. His logic is that he can't hit what he can't see, and it just really tilts him. But I would have actually loved to see Canadian champ pick up an Amumu. or not an Amumu, sorry, the Shaco instead of the Amumu, but unfortunately he went with Amumu. We do see the Swain get picked up for Phoenix Rising, and the Syndra gets locked in for Frisian.
And
Always another way.
Purple Cobra's going with a pretty similar comp, but just with a little more front-loaded damage on the mid laner this time, with Syndra being picked up instead. As the strangest pick I've honestly seen at GXPC, that Amumu on Canadian champ. He does like to go that AP build and really just tear away at the back line. And Purple Cobras, who likes to dive in these fights, is going to have to be very careful with positioning, as they may just see some of these carries go down without them even realizing. And we see that Braum ban from Team Phoenix Rising not wanting to give away that strong support pick, and the Nami ban as well before from Purple Cobras is 3 support bans this game so far, possibly more. An interesting amount as some of these pools are being pinched, but instead we'll see Yasuo come out getting that wind wall away, will really help out Syndra in the long run along with an ADC. And a 4th support ban, 2 for each team, as the final ban will be Alistar. It's surprising to see that although we do have that Swain and that Amumu champs you don't want brought into your team, that all these pull supports are left open for Desolate Earth, and I do believe that is his specialty. Do you think that's disrespect or planning on the side of Team Phoenix Rising?
I'm actually not sure. I don't think it's so much as disrespect. I think it's just they're confident in their bot lane, being able to dodge any of those skill shots coming towards them. So as long as they feel comfortable, like leaving like Thresh and Blitzcrank and Nautilus open for Desolate, then like there's really no reason to ban them.
And Triss does have that interesting jump mechanic where she can buffer some of that CC, some of those pulls, but depending on the proficiency that support has and depending on how uncomfortable Nutrix is on that Tristana, it is possible if timed wrong, that escapability will be gone and they still will end up in the middle of the team. As we see Taric and Kassadin pick for Team Phoenix Rising, just I believe every member of Team Phoenix Rising does AoE damage, so these will be very hectic, very melty team fights. As we see this last pick being decided on now by Purple Cobras, we'll have these comps fleshed out in a second for you. As we see the, as I was saying before, a pull support. That's Lyra's favorite, as we are going to see an interesting Twitch and Nautilus bot lane versus what I can only believe is, yep, Tristana Swain. That Swain support happening after the rework and kind of faded. I'm sorry, not Swain support, Taric. I forgot about him. It's getting a little excited there. I apologize. As Swain support would have been fun to watch, but instead that boring Taric boy. What do you think these comps have fleshed out to be?
I mean, we do see that Purple Cobras to pick up the Twitch Nautilus bot lane. I actually like those two together. I feel like Leona is a little bit better with Twitch, but I can understand not wanting to pick that up opposed to the comfortable pull supports that were left open for Desolate. Syndra has a lot of burst damage. I feel like her laning is going to be a little bit rough against that Kassadin. Just because he's very mobile, he can, jump everywhere and be a huge nuisance. We have the Jax jungle again, which is Friction's specialty. And we have the Scion top lane again for Purple Cobras, and we saw how that went for them last game. So I feel like Purple Cobra's team comp, the only thing that they would really have to worry about is early on the Tristana, because Twitch doesn't really pick up till mid-game, so they just need to not give over kills to that Tristana. And then also, Frisian needs to be very aware of his positioning in the mid lane versus the Kassadin. For Phoenix Rising, the Swain and the Amumu, they have a decent amount of CC together. Amumu's ulti can be, very. It could be a very dependent thing for Phoenix Rising's team comp and how they want to initiate fights. So if they're dependent on the Amumu ulti in, then Kassadin can very easily go in and pick maybe one or two people off, as well as the Tristana. So Purple Cobras needs to be aware of Amumu engaging and where he's trying to get those ultis off, so they can try not to have everybody around it at once and need to like spread out a little bit rather than staying too close together. Let's see. Tarek, he's really annoying in laning phase. I feel like mid to late game, he's the only thing they would have to worry about would be, I feel like, the ultis and just watch where the stuns are coming from. But overall, I feel like both teams are pretty CC heavy. Like we have the Scion, the Jax, the Syndra, and the Nautilus, and then we have the Swain, the Amumu, and the Tarek. So I feel like it could go either way. Like it just depends on which teams are able to play out their compositions a little bit better than the other one.
I do have to agree that while hectic, these team fights should be exciting. And where do you think this first blood will occur as we see just a lot of power picks just throughout the map?
Ooh. I feel like I honestly want to say that like it might go over to Syndra in the mid lane. Just because earlier on, Kassadin isn't as mobile without his ulti. So I feel like if Friction's able to hit, level 6 a little bit sooner, or even just get enough damage off on the Kassadin that he could go and ignite and get a combo off and take out that Kassadin.
I do have to agree, as Syndra does have that pre-6 advantage and possibly even at 6. But we do have to head to a commercial break, and we will see you guys in a few minutes on the Rift.
My name is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate Games XP in Decorah, Iowa. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The Game XP motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out Games XP and experience this geek gaming paradise.
And after a quick loading time this time, we do see these teams spawning on the Rift. And to the audience's probable delight, we don't see that pause in the beginning of this game, so we will not have that delay. We'll get right into the action as both teams going for what I want to say a standard 5-point, but Team Phoenix Rising possibly having a bit of communication error, or just a little bit of buddy, as we do see a ward in the tribe version doubling up in that brush in the middle. And we do see Kaze exploring, Frisian and Kaze seeing each other. Mist Orb, Kaze's Q, that insta-hit, and a little bit of fun in the mid lane as they will just kind of walk at each other. Canadian champ not wanting that fun though. And Frisian just... What a team we've seen here. A little bit of BM, a little bit of too much. Do you think the BM is worth the damage, Quasers?
Yeah, sure. It'll regen by the time his buff respawns anyway.
You heard it here first. The head of Purple Cobras endorses the BM of her team. So, as we see the mentality of Purple Cobras finally coming to light on the Rift, so too will we see the mentality of a very late invade. And I do believe that ward is still active, the Tarek place, so they are going to spot them sitting in that try. And they could try to 3-man this, as Friction did decide to go top. And they are kind of stalling, kind of baiting it out. They will go in late They do miss the flash stun, sadly, a little too far. As Death Earth goes for the pull, Canadian Champ misses the Q, however, a lot of damage. Darkreeze gets the exhaust off. Desolator forced to flash away as both summoners for Darkreeze burned, but only flash for Desolate Earth. So surprisingly, a bad fight still won for Purple Cobras. And we do see Canadian Champ sitting in this bot wave, waiting to go again, flashes in, Q's Tomato Farmer. Tomato Farmer forced to flash away as well. And a lot of time wasted bot lane by the Samumu, as we do see Friction deciding to just move in and take all of these camps. And we'll see if Canadian Champ realizes what's gone on and tries to counter invade. A little bit of poking top, not necessarily a wet noodle fight anymore, as Swain will do damage and doesn't have the health tankiness to outlast this Scion either, as they do go down pretty early. Friction just enjoying this enemy camp, as Canadian Champ, not sure if he should go in or not, takes that scuttle and runs back for Raptors. And not seen on the map, but a little bit of poke back and forth mid lane as well, as Frisian is deciding to assert some of this dominance mid lane and let him know that pre-6 Kassadin is not a good matchup. What do you think of this bit of action we've seen so far?
Well, I would like to point out that Friction has made it a point to go and take Canadian Champ's jungle and go ahead and gain top lane. So unfortunately for Canadian Champ, just spending a little bit too much time in the bot lane.
And does get the stun missed a little bit, but does burn the flash. Cinco flashing in as well, takes that double turret shot. Canadian Champ able to be up here, gets the first blood as Cinco goes down. Friction getting low as well, as Canadian Champ decides to walk away from that dangerous zombie man, as he does go to 300 health. So a bit of an interesting gank there early, getting a little too cocky from last game. Do you think that they can slow it down, or is a little bit of that little bit of bravado leaking into this game too?
Yeah, I feel like Purple Cobras should go ahead and take a little step back. They're playing really aggressive, for them at least, especially like 4 minutes into the game. So I feel like they are a little bit cocky from that win from last game. So they definitely need to chill out just a little bit.
Yeah, and hopefully they will, as not only my points, but about 70% of the viewers' points are riding on them as well in this game too. We do want to see them close it out before we get to a risky game 3. And just to look at CS a bit, it is about even throughout the board, mid having a slight advantage. Do you think Frisian can start to take this lead further out, even though he is running low on that mana pool?
I think that if he gets a gank from Friction and, Canadian Champ isn't there to try and, make something happen in the mid lane, then I think that he can very well get ahead.
Yeah, we do
but I
see
do think he'll
Friction.
need help.
You see Friction deciding to go top lane instead, although Scion does get the ward as he's there. He is a little slow to respond, does walk into Friction. They will get the stun off, decent damage, misses the knockup, but Alexander not really having anywhere to go. The kill goes down to Friction. And just a very slow and methodical fight by Purple Cobras, as we do see action in the bot lane. However, Tristana jumping that Twitch, trying to get that bomb popping, does get the ignite off on Tristana as the exhaust goes down on Twitch, will get stunned up, getting very low. Natrix getting that heal off will make him survive. Desolate Earth trying to turn something from this fight, but instead it'll be a 1-0 in the bot lane for Team Phoenix Rising. And we do see just action everywhere. Canadian Champ trying to chase down Friction. Friction responding, getting the stun off. Canadian Champ gets the Q off as well. The bandage toss gets him there. And getting very low. Friction deciding to still fight. Almost goes down for it. As Canadian Champ just really showing why that Amumu pick is just very good on him. Just very comfortable. Do you think that that jungle pick is really going to carry them later in this game as well as it is early game as we're seeing?
Well, personally, I feel like that late game, Amumu is just good for his engage. He doesn't really have too much damage compared to like some other junglers, but I do feel like maybe having an AP Amumu might be a little bit more beneficial, but I think that's just because I really like AP Amumumus.
And we do usually see in some of these games, Canadian Champ does opt for an AP route. However, he does grab that Bomby Cinder. And we may see him decide to go more of a tanky route, as without him being a tank, the only front line is going to be just a health pit of a Swain and just a few support items on a Tarek. So he may be forced into a build that we haven't usually seen from him. Hopefully he can make it work for his team. So you see Desolate trying to set something up. Just Eason walks away. Scion getting a little angry as Swain decides to land that pull, get a little bit of damage off. And just a lot of poking back and forth from both lanes, but not too many gains until a jungler comes. Do you think one of these lanes can start to become proficient on their own without relying on that jungler help?
Yeah, I feel like if any lane can be on their own, it would be the bot lane of Phoenix Rising. The Neutronix and Taric would be probably the best bet of, being able to pick up kills without any assistance from the junglers or the mid laners.
I would hope so as well, as if they don't start to be able to do it on their own, this bot lane of Twitch and Nautilus can have the perfect CC and damage combo to just keep them, get those stacks up and expunge them perfectly. We do see a pull go off and a counter stun from Darkwiz as Twitch decides to go in, but we do see damage top lane as well. Cinco Gazer trying to get something going. Darkwiz forced to flash out, however, Cinco Gazer getting that fully charged Q up, chunks Scion as he doesn't get much return damage off. Scion's sitting about half health while Alexander is really just below, I'd say, or even at a fourth, I'd say now. And it is possible that he can set up just a dive with his ult there if Alexander isn't careful. We do see Friction deciding to go to the bot lane. Pinkward will catch him out. Tomato Farmer just getting decent damage off on that Tarek. Friction gets the stun off. Amumu coming in with the big ult. The bomb goes down on Friction as Tomato Farmer goes very low, gets popped instantly. We saw something top lane as well for a brief moment. We'll get back to that in a minute. But for now, just 1 for 0 in the bot lane. Cinco Gazer getting him very low. Scion getting the ult off. Cinco tanking just possibly one too many turret shots as Alexander does get out and does not have to fear anymore with Scion having no mana. The flash pull from Alexander. Possibly just trying to get Kaze in here as he does roam up. Probably will pick up Cinco Gazer. However, Cinco Gazer running away for now. Gets the slow off. Decent pacing. Kaze low on mana may not be able to follow up. Just walking at him. And Cinco, amazingly, just getting out and giving a few missing pings. Thankfully, Team Phoenix Rising can't see it. Quizzers, do you still support the BM, or has the mentality shifted in this mid game?
Man, I don't really know. I mean, I do think that both teams are like really chill with each other. So I do know that like any BM going back and forth wouldn't be taken seriously. It would just be like, oh hey, hi friend. It's like waving to your friend that you see in the supermarket.
Yeah, we did see a bit of friendly chat earlier in that Discord general chat. And again, if you guys do want to say anything to these teams and just be a part of the community, that link is in the bottom along with a few other social media outlets. Feel free to either follow or join the community and just keep up on what's going on. We see Kaze jumping on Frisian. Frisian has to knock away. Gets decent return damage off as Kaze may have to be careful. Frisian may just be able to outburst him if he plays it correctly. And a decent clear, just very calm. Kaze missing that slow. Frisian returning with a stun. And just a little bit lackluster there as Kaze did return it back with that corrupting potion that he has that Frisian did decide not to pick up. But we do see bot lane decide to get ready as well. Desolate Earth missing the pull. And just an interesting play as decent damage possibly could have been put on that Tarek, but instead decides to go for a bit riskier of a pull and pays for it. We do see stun go down from Frisian. Cinco trying to come mid, but instead may have to just clear this ward and roam back top lane. He's missed too much. Tomato Farmer running in with Friction. Nutrix forced to jump away early. Tarek pops ult even earlier. Does get it off. Nutrix pushes people away. Cinco Gazer TP from the back. Does get the knockup on Starquiz. Amumu misses the bandage toss and just a 1-for-0. Very good roaming on the side of Purple Cobras. And showing the same kind of plays they did from that game 1. Do you think that these roams and these intelligent movements and TPs around the map can really just swing the gold back in their favor again?
Yeah, I do feel like roaming to help out your laners is a huge thing, and that if you can, like if you have the opportunity to leave your lane and go help out someone else to get them ahead when they're falling behind, then that's a really good thing that you should do, and you should focus on doing that if it's possible and if you're in a position to do that. So I do feel like the roams from Cinco and the roams from Frisian, um, they're usually in good face, and they definitely help out Tomato Farmer in the bot lane or Cinco in the top lane, whoever they may be roaming.
And hopefully we'll see Purple Cobras decide to keep up that mentality, as not only did it work that game, it may work this game, and it does just make the game a little bit more enjoyable for both of us at this E-Desk, along with all the viewers at home or wherever they may be as well. We do see a pull into tower from Alexander. The W misses. However, Single Gazer deciding to just walk out. Having that massive health pool is really going to pressure Alexander to just get a lot more efficient poke off, as Cinco Gazer's health bar with that corrupting potion may just outlast Scion's mana bar, even with that corrupting potion, as we may see a bit of a commonality here in these starting builds. And however, we see Canadian Champ Bandage toss in, does miss the stun as Tomato Farmer is able to run away. Bomb stacks going off, does get the kill on Tomato Farmer, and Desolate Earth walks away with his life. Now, a decent return gank. We've seen these junglers kind of interchangeably go back and forth in this bottom lane. And Friction deciding to set something up top does get spotted by that ward. They do dive bot lane as well as the stun goes down. Desolate Earth Bandage toss misses, but the ult goes down. He gets melted instantly as Darklease takes a few turret shots, but nothing serious. And we saw Alexander just kind of walk away after seeing Friction top. And first turret goes down. Side Team Phoenix Rise and Kaze jumping in. Stopwatch is ticking out. Kaze deciding to keep going against the Ignite off, getting very low, and will possibly pick up the kill. Ignite not getting it though, as the last tick would have meant something. Canadian Champ possibly wanting to try to roam and get this kill. Backing there, he will see it. Bandage toss connects and does get the kill. Tarek deciding to pop ult under turret. Tomato Farmer getting very low. Nutrix deciding to jump in. Heal goes down. However, the jump continues. The damage goes down, and he does go down. Desolate Earth trying to salvage something as he just gets poked. Canadian Champ flashing in. Just waiting there for a sec, but still getting that damage. Does get the kill. Canadian Champ tanking a few turret shots. One more will take him out. Follows through, and he does go down. Shutdown gold over to Desolate Earth. However, this damage is coming through, and the turret does go down. We see Friction coming through. Cinco Gazer trying to ult in. And Friction does get the stun after a flash. Knock up as well from Cinco, and that will do the damage. And Darklease possibly able to run away with his life as Friction chases down the non-stop action in this game right now. But instead, they separate, wave, and decide to go their separate ways. Quasars want to break down that for this few minutes of just nice action we saw as we see the Heralds being spawned.
Yeah, we did see, Canadian Champ. He's been very active as a jungler. He's gone and helped both his mid lane, his top lane, and we just saw him down in the bot lane once again after going in to help out early game.
And just 1 second here as we see possibly a tower dive forming as Cinco Gazer does not decide to take out Alexander. Possibly they saw or just sensed that Kaze was coming down from that mid wave after that. Ward saw him start to head down. And Canadian Champ running it down towards Frisian. If he lands the bandage toss, this could be the end, but stun does connect. And he's still running. Trying to get something going. Frisian getting a nice slow off. Misses the bandage toss. Gets decent damage off. Nutrix there as well. Gets the bomb. Gets 3 autos, 4 autos. The ult goes down Canadian Champ, but it's not enough as Nutrix just bursts him down for the kill. We've seen as mid lane pushes down, and they may try to force something here. I'm going to comment that we've seen this Tristana pick twice now, something you aren't really seeing in your solo queue games back home, or at least I haven't been, but really becoming a power pick in both of these matches. Do you have any comment as to why that may be for these teams?
Yeah, so with Tristana, she's a hyper carry, so as the game goes on, she gets more and more items, gets stronger and stronger. So even though like hyper carries aren't like Tristana especially so much being picked right now, they're still viable going into the mid and late game. And I feel like Tristana just scales a little bit better than Twitch. So as like going into the mid game at least. So I feel like late game Twitch will be able to get caught up to that Tristana and put out as much damage as she's putting out. But as of right now, you're gonna see more of that damage coming from the Tristana than the Twitch.
It's possible it may stay that way as Tristana does pick up this red buff and has a 6-1-1 KDA. Twitch sitting on just a sad 1-4-0 currently. And to comment on some of these others as well, we see Frisian, even though he picked up that Syndra third pick, very confident with that mid lane choice. We see him 0-3-0 right now, while Kaze is 1-0-1 on that Kassadin. Do you think that this early Syndra pickup was possibly a mistake from Frisian?
I do feel like Syndra into Kassadin is a lot tougher of a lane than the Malphite into the Zed that we saw previously.
Twitch popping ult, trying to get something going from Kaze. He did jump in, but instead we'll just try to lifesteal some back. The ult not doing enough damage. Kaze sitting at half health back there. May have to back off, and back he will, as this top lane turret is pressured. And they don't know that Single Gazer was up there possibly, but they definitely know now walking through that ward. As Purple Cobras just decides to respect and instead will back off. Not even doing Twitch things, or maybe doing Twitch things as he may try to set up an invisible here, as he does. Desolate Earth getting burned by that red buff though, can't really return, gets the pull, does not go for the root though, gets the ult, avoids the stun. Nutrink's jumping in anyway, melts Desolate Earth almost immediately. The Taric ult comes down just in time to save him as Nutrink's turns his attention to Tomato Farmer. Sion gets the knockup, and Single Gazer gets the damage off as well. Nutrink's has to flash out. The Crease flashes in as well to try to create some distance. Friction in the meantime trying to dive some of those mid laners. And we see Cinco putting constant damage down on that Taric. Nutrix heals Taric to try to get him out. Flash in from Cinco Gazer as the knockup goes down. Tomato Farmer gets the kill. However, Alexander ulting, trying to get something in return as he's chasing down Frisian. Gets the ult Kaze as well. Swain ult goes down for the final kill there. As we see something calm down. Never mind, Frisian deciding to try to get something back. Will chase down. But instead a nice pleasant walk away there as we see them heading mid. Red buff being taken, and maybe that mid turret goes down, although I would like to see a bit of a reset. Instead they'll walk over that ward and head towards Dragon. Purple Cobras may not be able to respond here just based on where their team is. What do you think Purple Cobras has to do to come back in this game?
Well, this is like pretty much a reverse of last game. Now we see that Phoenix Rising has a huge lead, and Purple Cobras is starting to fall behind. So I think as long as Purple Cobras, has that vision control where they need it, and is just avoiding team fightings until they can get more gold and get those items that they need, then Phoenix Rising is going to continue to get ahead.
And we did see Canadian Champ have to burn that flash to escape Cinco Gazer's knockup. And he may or may not have gone down, but deciding to play it safe instead. It does mean that if he misses a bandage toss, he won't be able to have that flash ult and try to turn one of these team fights in his favor again. So he is going to have to play these fights very cleanly if he wants to keep having an impact. As we do see that Balmy Cinder go to the jungle item, and a Rylai's come down as well. This is, I believe, his usual build, actually, as we are seeing that kind of off-tank, half-damage build that still is able to melt some of these carries. Do you think Purple Cobras has to worry about that Amumu breaching their backline and killing off a few people?
I would say that it would definitely be a concern, but as long as Purple Cobras manages their positioning and is able to dodge those skill shots, then I think that their backline should be alright.
And hopefully it will be, as they do need to start playing a little cleaner and reducing some of this damage, keeping Tomato Farmer or Frisian alive in these fights to turn them. And one way they could get back in this game is Nutrink sitting at 7-1, should have a pretty sizable bounty. Kaze is going to chase out Tomato Farmer though. Flash ult gets the slow off as well. Tomato Farmer trying to return damage, but Kaze ignites ults again and just gets the damage off. Cinco had to ult up there, but just doesn't hit it. Kaze deciding to ult away. Cinco Gazer gets the slow. Friction flash stun. Cinco trying to get damage off, misses. Alexander pulls Desolate Earth. Desolate Earth responds with an ult of his own. Alexander ult of his own as well. Frisian ulting as well. And just an R button fiesta outside of this Baron pit. as everyone burning ults to take down one another. We do see Purple Cobra starting the reset, but Cinco waiting there, possibly trying to catch out a few members. Frisian decides to ruin the fun, tries to get the stun off. Cinco Gazer has to slow. Canadian Champ misses Bandage Toss and will not get in. And we see a bit of a slower reset now as they do come mid. Friction running away. Frisian getting a little rough there. He could have got Bandage Tossed and died, but instead does get out with his life, as this will be a full reset. How do you think that last fight went?
I mean, I feel like that's good for Purple Cobras just because, you know, they have been getting a little bit behind and they did pick up a kill. So I feel like at this point, every little bit matters. But at the same time, that was a trade, which isn't, you know, the best option for them right now. But, you know, that little bit of gold did help for sure.
And just a few whiff stuns on both sides, a whiffed hook as well, as we see nothing really coming. And just something to comment very quick. Earlier in the bot lane and in this mid lane as well, we've seen Desolate Earth miss a decent amount of hooks, a few more than you would expect from this pull master. Do you think that Team Phoenix Rising is just getting a bit cleaner with their dodging, or do you think he's having a bit of an off night tonight?
I think it's just an off night. Like, everybody has them.
And getting the stun off Frisian will cause Kaze to run away, as Tomato Farmer tried to invis there, but will not be able to get it. Nutrient's deciding to ult this turret and just take it down on his own, as just his power alone decides to force Friction off. Backing in the middle of the mid lane like a champ. He will be spotted out by Cinco, but will not get the damage off in time to stop the back. However, Cinco deciding to push out the wave with Friction. The rest of Purple Cobra slowly joining them. Tomato Farmer pushing out that top wave all on his lonesome, as Purple Cobra starts to head up there, possibly to meet him or possibly to get out a pick. We will see in a minute, as Team Phoenix Rising slower to rotate, as Canadian Champ taking out that Gromp does get spotted out. One stun to knock up a stun, just so much damage. A Rude as well. Does not matter though, as the ult goes down for Friction, but the Taric ult goes down to save him. Friction going down as well. Silence from Friction. Their names are killing me. Cinco Gazer getting damage off on the backline. As Alexander wreaking havoc in the backline as well. Darkhui's flashing for the stun. Alexander using Blast Cone to get over. Nutrient's jumping over as well, trying to get something happening. Vision of Empires goes down Tomato Farmer. And just... the only thing that's rougher than that team fight is two members of Purple Cobras having almost identical names and tripping me up in the middle. And we will see Baron being taken. What do you think Cinco Gazer can do here, if anything, to try to create something from this Baron opportunity? Because we do see him go in, Division of Empires goes down, Bandage Toss goes in, Cinco going down, Baron not reset. As the zombie form comes through, they still have to try to focus him, trying to get some damage off, and just doesn't get anything, as Baron health never reset. And sorry about the question, but Cinco Gazer answering it before you, deciding to trade in his own life without much in return.
Yeah, I think the best thing that you could have done as a Scion is, you know, try to go in and get a couple kills for those that are low and trying to do Baron, or just like hope that your passive like steals the Baron. But there, you know, there's not much that you can really do about that.
Now with a very large gold lead bubbling up for Team Phoenix Rising, and as you said before, the opposite of this first game coming through in the second, do you think Purple Cobras has an avenue back in this game? And if you really do believe so, where do you think they can find it?
Well, let's see. We already see that some players are starting to get a little bit of MR, which is definitely a start, especially against that Kassadin. And you know, we see that they're lacking in vision control. I mean, to avoid fighting with them, they need to know where they are. So I feel like getting some vision back on that map will definitely help them against any unwanted fights versus Phoenix Rising right now.
As we do see Canadian Champ clearing out some of that vision. Desolate goes for a pull on Canadian Champ. A little rough, is just with a huge health bar, it doesn't matter much, as Canadian Champ just decides to walk away without help from the team at all. They will use Baron minions to focus down this mid lane. Synchro Gazer trying to push a minion over, trying to clear out a few minions. Canadian Champ getting in the back line. Frisian decides to stopwatch the ult, but ult still going down. Massive ults through. Tyracle decides to stop all the damage. Synchro Gazer going low as many members going down. Synchro Gazer goes down. Tomato Farmer jumped on the back line. Knight goes down to kill him. Dust Earth getting stunned up and will get taken down by that Swainel as Synchro Gazer in zombie form trying to just trade for one person. Doesn't get it. A 5-0 for Team Phoenix Rising. And with the Tristana and decent death timers, they could get one or two of these Nexus turrets, possibly even push for the end of the game here. As we will just see in a quick minute, turret shots going down on a few of them, an 8-7 on Frisian, and the Nexus will most likely go down here. Game 2, I mean, going over to Team Phoenix Rising, making it 1-1 in this series. Now, really quick, as we spot these damage numbers in a minute, you did comment on getting MR towards the end of that match, and they were starting to get a few items for it. The one thing that kind of worried me a bit is that we have a Mumu building AP, and we know Canadian Champ loves this AP and Mumu with his magic damage, with that passive to amplify it. Alex Gander getting that Morello for the pen along with Roa to pump that damage out. Kaze with that Cassidon damage becoming huge, and even Tarek with a few of those autos and that stun getting decent damage out. Do you think that the resistances were just too little too late for this Purple Cobras team?
Well, I feel like there needs to be a point where you stop building AP or AD and you start building defensively. And if you're behind, it's really hard to do that in a timely manner. And I just think that Purple Cobras got to a point where they were a little bit too far behind to keep up with damage and build resistance simultaneously. So.
And just an interesting note, Tristana doing the most damage in the game at 23,000. Twitch at the next with 16. We've talked about this AP and Mumu every time we've seen it from Canadian Champ. He pumps out 10.5k damage, only doing 200 less than the Swain, and only about 1,000 less, than the Cassidon. So really just proving that damage of Mumu isn't dead, and this may be something we have to watch out for in this next game if Purple Cobras doesn't decide to ban it away. But I do believe we're going to take a very short break, and we'll see you just before pick ban to get into this exciting match 3, as it is 1-1 between Team Phoenix Rising and Purple Cobras. And we are back after that very short break. And just to remind anybody who may have just shown up, we are 1-1 in series, tied between Purple Cobras and Team Phoenix Rising. And last game we saw, although a similar team comp from Purple Cobras after that win in game 1, Team Phoenix Rising deciding to bring out that AP Amumu, take the Tristana for themselves, and just get a decent amount of early game flowing through them, really carried through the game. Do you think that there's either any picks or bans that Purple Cobras needs to prioritize now on this blue side that can really just lead them to a victory here?
Yeah, I feel like the one band that they should pick is the Cassidon, just because they didn't really deal with him very well that last game. It was a bad matchup mid lane for Frisian. He picks Syndra and the Cassidon, and that doesn't really go very well into him, especially after level 6. And he just wasn't able to do as much as he should have been doing, especially on Syndra. So I feel like that would definitely be a priority ban now. I'm not sure about the Amumu. I think that Purple Cobras might ban it, but might not. It just depends on like how they personally felt about it that last game.
Now, the one thing we do have to remember with that Amumu is because of that passive, whenever he's getting stickier, whenever he ults, he is amplifying that magic damage. And with 3 other magic damage champions on the side of Team Phoenix Rising before, we did see just that amplifying going through, as I do believe Champ Select has just started. We see an Echo ban, a Renekton ban, very reminiscent of the past 2 games. Not much has changed yet. And a Mumu ban from the side of Purple Cobras deciding to be the first to change it up a bit. Get back to that first game ban, and an Ahri ban as well. Very classic bans from Team Phoenix Rising, possibly feeling comfortable after that game too. And Purple Cobras changing up a bit, but not really too much. We'll see if they opt for that Tristana, which in my opinion at least, not even possibly, and they do, has carried both teams through both of their victories. Do you think that that's worth the prio pick?
I do. I feel like Cinco has a decent champion pool, so I feel like if they pick up the Scion on Phoenix Rising, that he'll be fine with the Swain or vice versa. And I do know that Frisian owns most of the champions, so he'd be able to pick up that Scion and maybe do a 3-way swap with Desolate or Tomato Farmer or someone.
Now, the Aurelia, which you've seen banned a lot, well, not a lot, we've seen it banned both games in the past by Purple Cobras, does get picked up in this 3rd game as it did slip through. And I believe that goes over to Kaze. I'm not 100% sure. But do you believe that along with a Warwick can really start to get a comp and really start to get a solid team rolling for Phoenix Rising?
I do know that Frisian actually used to play Aurelia back before the rework and tried her afterwards, and didn't really like the playstyle, doesn't really suit his playstyle, but he does know how to play against Aurelia. So I feel like if that's an Aurelia mid, he should be more than comfortable. As far as the Warwick goes, as long as Purple Cobras is able to, prioritize doing damage to Warwick when he goes to ult one of their teammates, I think that they'll be fine with the Warwick as well.
And we do see that Jax pick come through, that Syndra pick again. Now, while I do believe Jax getting through could be a bit of disrespect, as we've seen Friction pop off on Jax, that Syndra early without seeing the mid laner, and we see Kaze immediately pick up that Cassidon again, possibly confirming that is going to be that Aurelia top lane for Alexander. Just, it really makes you question here, because without a confirmed mid laner, we may see the same situation where Frisian can't snowball early and will just kind of become lackluster in the game. Do you think that was a bit of a slip up in this pick ban phase?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I think it would just depend on like what comp that they're going for.
And hopefully they can form something a little more powerful with the Tristana on their side now. We see that Scion banned away from Cinco Gazer, who has been doing a decent job in both of these games on it. And without it getting picked up in that first rotation, it does get banned away. So Cinco's pool slowly becoming pinched as we may see a fourth ban. However, from uh, Purple Cobras, we see that Tarek ban really just trying to pinch Darkreeze's pool, really getting worried. And we see Alexander ban his homeboy himself, Ornn, really just trying to put pressure on Cinco Gazers. Not many options are left to counter that Aurelia. What would you try to bring into that top lane, Crazers, to try to push an advantage there?
I'm actually not sure. Um, Honestly, maybe, and I'm just like putting this out there, maybe an Urgot or a Yorick. Just because I know like both of those can be problematic for the teams, not just in particular the top lane.
And it is possible. It's not likely. Kassadin can go top, and Aurelia can go mid. And Aurelia even ADC, but I'll hopefully not believe in that for now. So with these possible flexes back and forth, it is going to make Cinco Gazer try to think a little harder about what he's going to pick. You would expect Aurelia to go top, but Phoenix Rising can become a little fancy with the pick. So we saw Darius hovered, a Garen hovered, and the Garen picked. An interesting pick. We haven't seen much of it. And Desolate Earth bringing in the homeboy Blitz. Interesting with an Aurelia on the team who wants to be there, a Warwick on the team who wants to be there, a Kassadin who, if not bursted down properly, just escapes anyway. Bit of an interesting support pick. Do you want to walk me through that one, along with hopefully the Garen pick as well, as we haven't seen Cinco Gazer on that much?
I do know that Garen has a pretty high win rate right now, so maybe they're just hoping that like the silence against the Aurelia will give them a little bit of an advantage top lane. And as far as the Blitzcrank goes, I do know that that's definitely a comfort pick for Desolate right now. He really likes his Blitzcrank. He when we tried him out, he played Blitzcrank every match, and I was like, "Hey, do you like only play Blitzcrank?" He's like, "No, he's just my favorite." So I think that that against a Lulu and Ashe bot lane, that would be very helpful in getting Tomato Farmer a little bit ahead.
And, a comfort pick in the bot lane like that with a pull, Lulu having the polymorph for Trist, but not lasting long enough unless she decides to max it first, can mean that with proper blitz queues, with those really nice grabs, either if Ashe or Lulu gets pulled, both of them being squishy, one will go down. However, as with every game, we see these summoner spells perfectly mirrored, except for these supports. Desolate Earth always bringing Ignite, while Darkreeze always bringing that Exhaust. Do you think that especially in this matchup, this poke versus this hard engage pull matchup, that these summoner spells are correct for both of these teams?
I do feel like the exhaust into the Tristana is really nice to have just because of how much damage she does, especially like mid to late game. But as far as the ignite goes for Blitzcrank, I do think that it's a good pick. Just because once Blitzcrank starts getting some AP, if he decides to go the AP route rather than the slightly tanky route, then he can very well do enough damage to the Ashe, the Lulu, even the Kassadin, to get enough damage off to either secure the kill or to make sure that Tomato Farmer gets his secured kill.
Now, we see similar lanes as we've seen the past two games, a few variations here and there, but we see Cinco Gazer on a pretty big tank, Alex Gander kind of moving more to these pseudo tank damage people. We see these burst characters for either side of mid, and these just hyper carry, auto attack heavy ADCs, and just these comfort bot laners either in these enchanters for Darkreeze or these tanks for Darkreeze or just these pull supports for Desolate Earth, these playmakers. Do you think that one of these lanes has a clear advantage for first blood, or do you think that it's just going to be a slugfest and whoever gets it gets it?
As far as clear advantage for first blood goes, I feel like there's no like crystal clear like, oh yeah, this champion's gonna get first blood. But I do feel like that there are definite advantages in lanes. I do feel like Garen has an advantage over the Aurelia, the Kassadin has one over the Syndra, and the Tristana Blitzcrank have one over the Ashe Lulu. It just depends on who can capitalize on that advantage a little bit sooner than the other.
All right. So just to kill you guys in, the bets finally are at 80%. I will double check because that is a big number. But yes, it is 80% for Purple Cobras and 20% for Team Phoenix Rising. And the bets are closed, so everything is final. But with a decent showing, or not even decent, explosive showing from Team Phoenix Rising in that game too, we will go into a game 3 that will be very exciting. We do have to cut to a commercial break in a bit, but remember, if you like what you see and want to support Dino Dad, any Twitch Prime subscriptions you guys have help grow the channel and make it look even prettier. But we'll see you on the Rift in a minute.
My name is Tim Borseth, and I own and operate Games XP in Decorah, Iowa. Games XP is a geek paradise. We carry everything from Pong and Atari all the way to Xbox One and PS4, and all the games that would go with those consoles as well. We also carry a ton of movies. We have handheld games. We have Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon. We have D&D and Pathfinder. We carry Warhammer 40K. We have a vintage Star Wars selection. This place is great. My wife and I have had 6 kids, and they are so much fun to work with here at the store. They run the store as much as I do.
And we now repair cell phones, game consoles, computers, and small electronics.
Our store is instant fun. Not only is there cool music and cool stuff to look at, but we have a game room that is so much fun. It's free to play, and you just plug in your game system and enjoy life. The Game XP motto is bringing joy to people's lives through our products, people, and a place to play. So you have got to come to Decorah, Iowa, and check out Games XP and experience this geek gaming paradise.
Hey guys, we are back in this exciting matchup. Cinco Gays are leaving base a little bit late. Hopefully we won't see an invade. But Team Phoenix Rising, not a standard 5-point, deciding to bring 3 people into this bot lane in Warwick mid. So if they want, they can decide to just ward up this red and do whatever they want with it. But again, I'm not sure if it's miscommunication or planning, but we've seen this multiple times from Team Phoenix Rising, and it is making me wonder what's going on with this 5-point. Do you have any comment on that? Because I am a bit lost right now.
Honestly, I'm not really sure. I think they just want to say hi. Like both teams are really chill with each other, so I think that they're just like saying hello.
Yeah, just a very relaxed opening. I'm surprised we didn't see like an ultimate level BM, like a flash pull over the wall from this Blitzcrank to try to get Kaze's flash out and really just drive home that Purple Cobra's slogan, BM or nothing, I believe it is. But as there is no leash from the bot lane and they try to set up in this bush, they may not know that Team Phoenix Rising doesn't leash either. Both teams set up a fake one, and they are waiting here. We may see a pull go out. Does land on the Lulu. Decent damage off. Lulu has to shield herself. Tomato Farmer trying to get something off, but gets exhausted immediately. Nutrix is pumping out damage. Tomato Farmer has to heal as damage keeps going off on Tomato Farmer. Has to flash out. Nutrix flashes in as well. A few autos will do it, but cancels the first one. Desolator is trying to get a few damage off as well. Shield goes from Lulu onto Nutrix as First Blood goes over to Nutrix on the Ashe, but they're not done yet. Getting damage off on Desolator, the passive has to be popped. And so much action, you don't even notice that top lane is getting very low as well, and mid lane doing a decent job poking. Do you want to unpack that exciting action we saw both on and off the camera there?
Yeah, I feel like, you know, maybe Tomato Farmer and Desolate are hoping for a pull on the Ashe instead of the Lulu, and there was a slight miscommunication there because we didn't really see Tomato Farmer immediately go for that Lulu. He kind of hesitated. But as far as top lane goes, I think that you know, Garen's doing Garen things and it's making it really tough for Aurelia to, you know, farm or even hope to really get ahead.
Now the good news is, with and the decent damage off there from Frisian, but with bot lane being a little behind, if they get pushed under turret, it's really Blitz's time to shine. As with it, a few decent pulls, he can get something going. Garen trying to get the silence off, getting the E off, does get stunned up, but decent damage off on Alexander, does keep going and does pay for it as Alexander returns damage. Cinco Gazer popping that W, doesn't land the Q, decides to go for a minion instead and walk away. And the one problem with this top lane is Alexander goes in again, Garen forced to pop that spin, is that even though Alexander brought that corrupting potion, Garen going for double rejuve bead and refillable, which is a bit of an interesting purchase, is that with that Garen passive, if he just waits long enough, he'll always have more health than Alexander. And Garen being Garen doesn't have that mana pool either. So in these extended trades, if it to someone, Alexander will always be losing them. Do you think that that could cause a problem in the top lane?
I feel like it will once, you know, junglers start to come in and help out, and like it gets tougher and tougher just because like one's getting ahead of the other, and if Garen happens to get ahead, then Alexander is going to have a really tough time like coming back from that, just because of the regen on Garen's health and him already being ahead.
And we saw a little bit of poke damage back and forth in that mid lane, but a little bit more of an aggressive than a poke. I'd say a full-on punch coming out from both those mid laners as they want to try to back off one another. Desolator finally picking up that level 3 was a bit behind, and just waiting in that bush trying to get something, but it gets warded. Cinco Gazer runs in, gets stunned immediately, but lands the silence. Alexander still deciding to go in as Cinco Gazer gets that spin to win off. Alexander returning the W as Canadian Champ was here as well. Cinco Gazer flashing immediately. Canadian Champ flashing as well for the fear. Goes down instantly to that damage, and just massive tear through on that Garen. And as you were saying, jungler that came through just gets that lane ahead. Hopefully we'll see Friction decide to make a play, as this has been a bit slower than we've seen the past 2 games on this Jax. Do you think that this gank, well, I don't want to say do you think this gank here will do anything, as we do see a flash in from Desolate, the pull immediately again, the stun even through Polymorph, and Tomato Farmer picks up the kill on Nutrinks. So if Friction can keep this up, do you think that he can really get these lanes ahead?
Yeah, I feel like Jax's gank potential is really good. Not as good as Warwick's, but
I'm sorry,
I
real quick,
feel like
Alexander running the wrong way, as I'm sorry folks, my client seems to not be with me. I am frozen a bit, but we are back. Cinco Gazer getting that spin off at Alexander, decent damage off. Alexander in trouble here, getting very low. Cinco getting that decent damage off from Grasp. Does get the runaway though, and just too much distance with the stun, will not pick anything up. Tomato Farmer in trouble here though, as Darkreeze gets the E, gets the Q. This does not get the Q, misses. Canadian Champ running in again very quick due to that passive, due to that W. Does get decent damage off on Garen. Garen returning though, gets the kill, gets both kill. Ooh. Does not get both kills, as it seems Aurelia did get that execute, but both laners going down and Garen going 1 for 1. Has Cinco showed proficiency on this Garen before like this?
I've actually never seen Cinco play Garen before, so I don't know if he's been practicing this on, you know, a lower level account, or if this is like his first time playing it in a while. But as far as I know, Cinco only plays Poppy, Swain, Scion, and his Renekton. So this is a new pick for me as well.
So. Alright, so we're going to be back in a second as we fix some streaming issues, and just stick around as it'll only be a few seconds, folks. We're sorry about that, folks, but we should be on time again, as we did fix those delays. A little bit of poke damage going off. Garen gets the stun even through, I mean, the silence even through the stun. Decent damage off through that spin. Alexander trying to return some damage, but Cinco just too tanky, too big, gets that Q off again, and just punishing Alexander for even being in this lane. This Garen pick really coming through in the clutch, as Aurelia does not seem to know how to counter it. However, we do see Canadian Champ hovering top once again. Pink ward in that try and no ward in the river. So he will go unspotted if he decides to run through here, and run he will. Decides to chase down Single Gazer. Does get the ult off. Does get the stun off again. The W going down though, reducing that CC time. Is Cinco trying to get something back. The ult does not get the damage off though, as Aurelia does block it with that W. And we are seeing Cinco Gazer getting punished for this aggression. Do you think he can reel it in, or is he just a... I'm sorry, as we do see the pull the knockup on Desolate Earth. Decent damage off. And no break in the action, but back to the question. Do you think that Cinco Gazer can calm down this aggression and really get that lane ahead?
I feel like it's not so much of Cinco being overly aggressive, because he hasn't really been pushing past the river too much. I think it's just the fact that Canadian Champ is very adamant about getting Alexander ahead, and Friction has been helping out other lanes instead of top. So I feel like the moment that Purple Cobras realizes that Warwick is somewhere other than top lane, Friction would be going up there to maybe try to get Garen ahead, or at least caught up.
And the interesting thing to note is Canadian Champ got 2 of those kills. However, we'll get back to that in a moment. As another pull, Q up top lane, damage going down everywhere. And just Garen trying to stay sticky to that Aurelia. Aurelia dives in again and gets a little punch for it through that E. And as I was saying, the kills are going over to Canadian Champ too, and only 1 for Alexander. So even though top lane is getting ahead, a decent farm lead, and, you know, having equal kills now, without those 2 extra kills going over, we do see both top laners about even in items. So Cinco Gazer still has a chance if he can just get a few wards out and know when Canadian Champ is going to be near that wave. As we do see him try to push off Alexander again, really asserting dominance even low. Desolate Earth possibly looking for a pull, but just gets that Q. And Frisian just clearing out a pink ward, as we haven't seen much action mid lane. Do you think that we'll start to see anything there soon, or is this possibly just the calmest mid lane between both of these players?
I mean, we do see that Frisian is ahead in CS by about 20. So I think that maybe Cassidy is just not quite feeling going in on the Syndra, knowing that he has a slight gold lead.
We do see the Ashar coming through, as Canadian Champ does flash in and then ult, trying to just assure that CC. Deaththroes gets very low, flashes out, pulls in Ash, as we see Friction getting the stun off, to get some W off to get him low. Tomato Farmer jumping in on that Ash, does get a few autos off. Lulu trying to shield to stop it. Friction getting that red buff auto, will slow nutrients, gets the jump in as well. Polymorph, however, gets slowed as well, does flash in, trying to get some of that damage off. Tomato Farmer flashes in, is not needed though, as Friction picks up the damage and only survives about 300 health. Does have to be careful if he wants to go again. However, backing off is the right call, and Cinco Gazer deciding to go on Alexander, dodges the stun, and may try to go in, as he does have that ult up. So, a mid lane popping off as well. Apparently, Purple Cobras does not want to give us a chance to talk, but we will try to squeeze one in. How do you think this game 3 is starting off?
I feel like Purple Cobras is already, you know, trying to get ahead. They're not playing as aggressive as last game, but they're definitely, you know, just showing that they're still in it, and that
They're getting stunned to her ults and just gets the kill anyway. Just your team does not want you to talk. I'm sorry, but you see Canadian
Yeah.
Champ coming, or not through mid. He is confusing me with this positioning. I am gonna have to put this on hold a sec, as this could be a free kill onto Frisian. Canadian Champ sensing it as well, does run through with that fear, gets knocked away and stunned. However, the fear goes off before he can do anything with it, and just a smart, calm play by Frisian. So to rotate this now to the mid lane, do you think that the comfort on the Syndra for Frisian can really keep his lane ahead, as we did see on that gank just there, and possibly in the future as well? He just doesn't have anything come of it, or doesn't have anything come of ganks, I should say, as he is just able to ward anything off.
Well, we do see that, you know, Frisian actually took Electrocute this time. I believe he took Airy last time. So with that Electrocute, you know, he's able to, you know, lane a little bit better against the Cassidy. I do feel like he's been poking him out and doing what he needs to be doing as Syndra. And I feel like, you know, he's being rewarded for actually playing the champion how she's meant to be played right now. And I think that the Keystone does help out a bit as well, because he has been poking Cassidy down quite a bit since this game has started.
He has been doing a lot better, and we do see that mid turret go down as well. Garen forced to TP to that top lane to stop Aurelia and just get some kind of counter push going there as well. As the rest of Purple Cobras may try to join in the fun, Aurelia could get caught out here if she tries to keep rotating through. As we do see Canadian Champ popping that W, running in as well. The pull lands, the knock-up lands, the silence lands, and just no chance as Syndra doesn't even waste her ult, just letting the natural damage come through. Garen deciding to turret dive Alexander, honestly, because he can, barely takes any damage from that turret, and Alexander showing a lot of damage on that Q with the grass proc. Just 2 Qs and a bit of an E, and he's already at half health. This is going to cause quite a problem as the wave is pushed. Cinco gets deciding to dive in anyway. Oh, Tomato Farmer getting double ulted under turret will go down immediately. Alexander trying to run through, possibly cause something. Frisian sensing something though, does land a stun. As we do see the Lulu come through. Cinco are trying to get something, pops the W. Desolate lands the pull onto Nutrix as Ashe goes down almost immediately. Aurelia getting a little worried as Cinco Gazer flashes in, gets the Q, ever gets polymorphed. Aurelia jumping in on Cinco Gazer, dies immediately. Warwick jumping in onto Desolate Earth. And we see just damage going at everywhere. Not much on the Canadian Champ though, as Purple Cobras decides to run away and just let that Rift Herald try to take out that turret. And it does. Frisian stunning up Canadian Champ on that Warwick. And we see a nice calm reset after that fight. So who do you think won that fight, and how do you think they did so well in it?
Even though it's a little bit messy, I do feel like Purple Cobras did win that. Like they ended up picking up, I believe, didn't they get one more kill? So and also on top of that, they were able to siege top tower, so they now have all tier 1 towers in their pocket there, sieged and done away with. So they're able to maybe focus on a couple of objectives instead, and start trying to siege those tier 2s instead.
You've seen a decent amount of map control all throughout for Purple Cobras, as we see, as you said, those 3 outer turrets going out, a decent gold lead from having 2 kills as well. Death landing the pull, and the silence gets the knock up as well. And Cinco Gazer spins to win straight through Kaze's heart as the Cassidon goes down. But as I was saying, now 3 kills ahead, a bit more gold, and 2 dragons as well, one of them being on Infernal on this burst heavy Frisian on Syndra, and this hyper carry Tristana from Tomato Farmer. It seems everything is going right for Purple Cobras. Do you think Team Phoenix Rising can really start to reel this game back in?
I mean, I feel like right now the only thing that Phoenix Rising is really lacking is what's the word I'm looking for? Lane pressure. There you go. They're not really showing too much of a presence in lane, and their rotations are a little bit off. So I think that it might be maybe lack of communication, or they're just not have the vision control to tell where Purple Cobras are going and when they're going there.
Running in, really getting a massive stun, but the flash knockup goes through. Ashel goes through on the friction. However, Single Gazer running down that Lulu decides to back off instead. Tomato Farmer not even needed in that fight, surprisingly, as Purple Cobra's damage is just getting too high from that Garen and that Syndra. As we do see Purple Cobras with a massive wave top head there to push it in. Team Phoenix Rising without that Aurelia, without Alexander, may not be able to defend too well, especially now that that Ashe ultimate is down, as they do concede and let Purple Cobras just take their prize for free. We will see if they go after one more turret. They do appear to be a little greedy, as Alexander is back up, getting a few minion clears. They do try to push this wave in a little more, are trying to get a bit damage on turret, but are just kind of waiting outside of that wave as it gets cleared almost immediately. Canadian Champ missing that fear, being a little careful not to dive immediately, as it could cost him his life, as Purple Cobras decides instead to just walk out, almost missed the ward, but is just clearing a little bit of vision. Alexander getting the stun off onto Cinco Gazer, but Cinco Gazer popping that W and just running away. Team Phoenix Rising not really capitalizing on anything, with just a few staggered ult cooldowns and a few staggered death timers. They're not really able to form up and stop Purple Cobras at these proper points. What do you think they need to do to really band together and start turning these fights in their favor?
Well, I do feel like that they need to try to ward up a little bit because we've seen Blitzcrank and all of his teammates sit in a bush and pull someone at least 3 times this game. So I think that maintaining vision in your own jungle as of right now would be a very smart thing to do, just to avoid having anyone get picked off.
And they do appear to be doing that with slow vision control starting from just that outer rim of the base outwards, as they even are spotting a few of those deep wards that Purple Cobras placed earlier. And just to talk about items for a minute, we see Garen ahead almost a full item on that Aurelia as he's just starting to finish up his second, as Aurelia is trying to finish up that first, as she did try to space it out with a Phage, a Tiamat, and a Sheen. But even in the mid lane, that row is going down a little low friction, just deciding to let Kaze run for free. And Ashe getting a Bork to Tristana's Stormrazor. So even-ish itemization throughout except for that top lane. Do you think that that Garen is the main problem here, or do you think it comes down to more than those stats? As you see, sorry, not pulling and knocking up that Ashe. Really not want to give you a chance as Garen ults through. Warwick ulting through as well. Aurelia dancing through with that ult and those Qs, however, gets bursted down immediately by Frisian. Garen's trying to run through, and Tomato Farmer jumping in as well, trying to get some damage down. They will, however, decide to turn to the tower, take it down, stop those tower shots from coming through, and will keep the push-up bot as they get a 2-for-0 in that fight, and will keep trying to force it down. Desolate Earth runs in, looking for a pull, lands it onto the Lulu, pulls back in, goes down immediately to one auto from Tomato Farmer, and I believe they empowered auto from that Q from Cinco Gazer, as they do decide to take down that inhibitor. And we may see them get a little greedy here for these Nexus turrets. I do hope to see them back off, and back off they shall, as they will clear out this pink ward and slowly leave. So, I'm sorry for cutting you off, as Desolate Earth is starting to show. I believe he heard me last game doubting his pulls. He wanted to prove it to me a little this game, but please keep going.
I was just gonna say that you know, actually, I don't even remember what I was going to say, but we do see Purple Cobras going for the third Drake of the game.
And
so
an Astral coming through, landing on Cinco Gazer. Doesn't matter, however, with a massive stun. Left W, health bar too much as Canadian Champ actually loses the trade to a fleeing Cinco Gazer. Redemption comes down, healing up and damaging Cinco Gazer as Deathers misses the pull. Double stun, getting a stun again, and Kaze goes down on that Kassadin. And just running through, we'll get the Honey Fruit, and they are not done yet, as Desolate Earth powers up that move speed, trying to run through. Single Gazer gets slowed. However, Desolate Earth possibly looking for a pull. Team is not there, though. He doesn't have the support. Tomato Farmer jumps in. Desolate Earth misses the Q, as Canadian Champ had to ult over the wall. Will not have that in the future, and this could cause problems, as they could just be going over to this Baron and will try to force it, as this super minion wave is crashing into their base. A quick clear of mid and going over to Baron. Do you think that Team Phoenix Rising, without any vision here, has a chance to know or even steal it?
Well, they do have the Hawkeye from Ashe, I believe is what it's called, to send over the wall. So I think that maybe they'd be able to know that Purple Cobras was there, but I don't think that they'd be able to get there in time to stop it.
And they do spot it out. However, Warwick lacking that ult and not having a flash either, and Jax being smart, deciding to jump out to take that blast cone. He wouldn't even be able to get in except through the front door, as they pick up a clean Baron, a clean little scuttle for Tomato Farmer, and interestingly, half the team backs out as Tomato Farmer decides to get a few more minions, possibly needing it for an item, and just decides to back out now, as those super minions behind Team Phoenix Rising's back decided to hit that turret a bit and let them know that they have to focus that bot lane as well. A decent amount of health missing. Do you think this game is too far gone at this point?
I mean, I feel like it'll definitely be difficult for Phoenix Rising to come back from it, but you know, they're not, well, they're not super far behind, but they are like behind. It's very noticeable. They're behind by 10 gold, or 10k gold, sorry, and yeah, and they're behind some kills as well. So I think that their best bet is just to defend their base and get a few items. But it's going to be really tough with that Baron buff and all of Purple Cobras there that are out damaging Phoenix Rising consistently.
And they are crashing a huge wave top as they could push in this base. And Desolate Earth trying to W in may get a pull, but instead decides to back off, and they will just go for this inhibitor. and we'll see if they decide to push it in or rotate mid. It appears they're clearing out a little vision, rotating mid, and Alexander missing the stun. Single Gazer's pulling in. Alexander goes down immediately. And even though Desolate Earth wasted that ult, it will be up in just, I believe, 20 seconds or even less. So not really a big expenditure there, as nothing else is really wasted on the side of Purple Cobras. And as they slow push this wave in, just to remind you, Quasars did say Team Phoenix Rising has a chance, proven to be rooting against her own team, as she is a Purple Cobras member herself. We do see them take down mid, however. Single Gazer deciding to chase them off and run back to finish off the turret, as they do take out the inhibitor as well. A slow push and his minions are crashing. They can just walk some of these minions in. This could be as Team Phoenix Rising. A Single Gazer goes in, gets suppressed. Oh, sorry, Blitzcrank gets suppressed as Jax goes in the backline. Friction looking for some damage, takes out one. Tomato Farmer trying to get one as Aurelia lands a 5-man ult. Doesn't really matter though, as they have too much health to spare. Blitzcrank getting that double silence as 2 people go down. Ash the only one left, and Nutrix will have to pull off a miracle play. Gets pulled instead and goes down. This will be the end of Team Phoenix Rising, and Purple Cobras taking this game 3 is now, I believe, your official 2nd place team right now in Games XP. And a beautiful game. We'll get to the damage charts in a minute, but I would like to turn it over to my color caster. Who do you think really deserves this MVP and this coveted interview that we will be giving out in a moment here?
Ooh, that's actually really tough. I feel like, yeah, that's actually a really tough question. Like, I don't even know. Like, I kind of want to give it to Frisian just because he has the flu right now and he's like dying. And he was able to play anyway, and he did like pretty okay from having the flu and, you know, being terribly sick, and he's a big baby when he gets sick.
I do.
He just left. I
do
think you
have
heard me
to-
talking about him.
I have to make a point here that although he suffered a bit in that game too, Desolate Earth, with a very powerful game 1 supporting that bot lane, getting that Tristana ahead, and a very good game 3 as well, landing a bunch of those pulls. I would like to vote him the MVP, but a little scared of the mic. He's left as well, and it appears the only 2 left are Cinco Gazer and Tomato Farmer. Now, Tomato Farmer, after game 1, was my pick for MVP until we got into that game 3, but seemed to just kind of get dragged around by the other members and really didn't show much in game 2. However, Cinco Gazer has just been a staple member of the E-Desk at this point, getting 2 interviews in a row, and this could be his 3rd, so I will leave the choice up to you.
Frisian's actually back, so let's drag him in here before he
All
leaves
right.
again.
Let's
Okay.
Alright, we're going to bring the man of the hour, the original MVP. The
Oh my
original
god.
MVP has left again. So
Just pull Desolate.
Desolate. my 2nd to 3rd.
Oh.
Alright, pull Cinco. Pull Cinco in here. Alright, so, Cinco, I have a question for you
shit.
immediately. I have a question for you immediately.
Okay, yeah, go.
Is this a giant just machination of your team to only allow you to ever be interviewed?
No, we want Desolate to have the interview, but he keeps leaving for some reason.
Okay, so instead we're going to interview you for, I believe, the 3rd or 4th time. Can you help me out with that?
Okay, sure.
And no, is it the 3rd or 4th time? That's what I need help with.
It's the 3rd time in a row.
3rd time in a row. A staple at the E-Desk, ladies and gentlemen, and very comfortable up here.
Oh boy.
So, as I get into these questions, I do want to put something out there. We have reached a very high viewer count, and as a gift to you guys, I will be scanning chat as I ask. I will pick one question out of chat, so please keep it PG, keep it friendly, but put something out there that's worthy of this 3-time interview legend. But
Oh,
Cinco,
Lord.
we saw you dominate on Scion and just crush an Aurelia on Garen, a pick we haven't seen come from you yet. Is this something you've been practicing, or just something that you know is strong?
No practice. It's just, it's OP, so I played it. It's really good
Alright.
against Aurelia.
So we'll be sending a letter into the Riot Balance team later about this. No practice still carries. However,
Yeah.
we saw a decent amount from that Tristana as well. and we haven't seen that much in other games really. Is this something Tomato believes is very strong and really can become this true hyper carry, or was it just kind of luck that those first 2 games and even a bit in that third game, it was really the Tristana popping off?
We know that Nutrinx is a really good Tristana. I mean, you can see he totally gives the work over on game 2. So the first game I'd say was just kind of dumb luck, but then the third game we came in and we were like, okay, if they don't ban Tristana, we're first picking Tristana 100%.
All right, and before I turn it over, I do have a very friendly, and I'm curious about this question as well. The lucky winner will be Left Hook Larry with the question: will you be playing Volibear at some point in this top lane?
Maybe.
Maybe
It
a
has
strong,
definite possibility.
a definite possibility, and a strong maybe, which really leaves us wondering. All right, now Quasars, if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Yeah, well, actually, no, I don't have any, but do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, all right. So first shout out. Shouts out to Desolate. I hope you're still listening. You carried, you just hard carried tonight, and he's always a really solid support. Most of our wins come off of his back, and I just want to give him the mad shout out. And then I have a couple others, if that's okay with you guys.
Take your time.
Go for it.
All right. Shouts out to Jeremy, Maddie, Seth, Max, Zach, Kyle. I think that's all of my real life buddies who are watching. Shouts out to the streamers, of course. Nick, you're the best. Quasars, thanks for casting and being a great team manager. Laxon, you're coming along really well. Great play-by-play. Shouts out to Ann in chat, still trolling. Basically best troll of 2018. And that's pretty much it.
No shout out for the Lord?
No.
You don't want to give one to Haru?
No. I don't like dogs.
No shout out to Haru, the mascot of the league and his
What
own
about
team.
Haru's brother, the kitty cat, Tamaki?
Alright, yeah, shouts out to that guy. Cats are cool.
Alright, cats not dogs, so it appears we won't see a Nasus top lane for a while from the Cinco Gazer. However, I believe that does it. I am your play-by-play, Laxon. Quasars?
Yeah, I'm Quasars, he said it. I was waiting for you to do it.
I believe in the free form of this, and just so you guys that are still sticking around, we do have our social media in the bottom. We have the Discord room. Feel free to talk to the teams, the general chat, get the community flowing. We have the Facebook, the Twitter. You guys can really follow us, figure out what's going on. The YouTube, we will post some of these moments, some of these VODs. You can always check them out on our Twitch channel as well. We have the website there as well. We post weekly power rankings. We vote on MVPs for the week in each lane. We really get this news going, get this community going, and we would like you to be a part of it as well. And if you really want to help the community, please feel free, donate a few bits, get a subscription going. If you have a Twitch Prime and you're not using it, just give us Jeff Bezos' money. It's not your money, it's Jeff Bezos. He's a billionaire and he doesn't need it, so feel free to send it our way. And really just thank you all for watching. It's been a great stream, and hopefully we'll see you another time.